It's going to be a PVZ. Last time I've seen Inca play PVZ was, in fact, when he played against Nesty, so it's been a while. But you know what? This is a great proving ground for lots of people. We've seen really cool, a lot of people rise up through open qualifiers, like Targa, who a lot of people didn't know much about him, but proving that he's a really, really strong player. I'm really excited to kick off things on Ohana between Inca and Slavik. Oh. And we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
I was scratching my eye because I
blame Mr. Bitter. Mr. Bitter's in the production room trying to learn everything. He's pushing all kinds of buttons like a kid in a NASA department. Like, ooh, what does this button
Elliot
do?
said go, so that one's on Elliot.
Anyway,
can you imagine Mr. Bitter trying to like do the Curiosity landing on Mars? He'd mess up the entire thing and just cost all the U.S. like $15 billion.
It'd be as messy as the Zerg play.
God. Oh.
Anyway, we're gonna go into this next game. It's Slavik versus Inca. Now, those of you that don't know Slavik might be a little bit more familiar with his other alias. Do you know what it is?
Happy Zerg.
Happy Zerg,
That's
yes.
Right. That was a long time ago.
StarCraft Brood War player, and he was a pretty strong Zerg back then. He didn't really have any big credentials, but he was always like a force to be reckoned with. He was on Rock's Kiss. Obviously, if you're on Rock's Kiss, you are kind of a big deal. So it was definitely very potent Ukrainian Zerg, but really hasn't shown any big results as of lately.
Yeah, I mean, same goes for Inca. Ever since his GSL finals run, where he infamously went DTs, I think 3 out of the 4 games that he got swept. And at this point, Inca doesn't have really much to prove. I mean, a lot of people have said he's washed up, but him, along with Top, have been players that a lot of people always underestimated. But the moment you do, he's going to get you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Inca always a powerful, potent player to deal with, as we do have, what do we have from Inca so far? It looks like he's going to go for a 17 Nexus, something around there.
Yeah, and
16.
I think it's, well, Nexus first on a map like Ohana is always a little bit dicey just because it's a little bit closer rush distances compared to other maps. Yeah. But at this point, Inca did a pylon scout, and he knows everything that's up, so he shouldn't be too afraid.
Yeah, how do you feel about Nexus first on Ohana? I know you just said, obviously, it's a little bit dicey, but when you do play Protoss, do you think it's okay, or...?
I think it's actually pretty good, depending on how you see your opponent's opening build. You can see, you know, something as simple as pool times will be very critical, and Slavik did go for a more delayed pool compared to normal. And you can see that at this point, Inca is really just doing some minor harass. He went for a Forge immediately afterwards as well, which is also just pretty much standard stuff. You get up the Forge really early, you get up the Gateway as well, and from that point on, I mean, what can really Zerg do? I mean, you can pressure, but at this point, he really cares more about his economy. So Nexus first, I think it's pretty much fine on Ohana.
Yeah, it's very interesting. As you were saying, he went Forge first, but lately we've been seeing a little bit of Gateway first as well, and not even going the Forge completely and just saying, I'm going to get my tech out as fast as possible and hope that there's no early game pressure. And I love this probes, you know, just scouting being annoying, because these are units, these 3 Zerglings are actually not pressuring on, and that's why like Gateway openings have been a little bit favored lately. There are people that have just been trying to counter it, but Gateway openings I think are still pretty good against most all-ins. For now, we don't see that at all. Forge fast expansion against the Stefano style Zerg, who is getting just a lot of drones and 3 expansions. The third one anywhere from 345 to 415. Things are looking good.
Yep, and I mean, at this point, everything else got up standard times as well, even the gases. Now, Ohana provides a very interesting dynamic because of the Protoss third base. You can actually go for a lot of Immortal all-ins on this build, especially based off that ramp to the third base for Slavik. You know, Inca can try to put a pylon there, just really make sure to set that as his post, and then kind of push and poke and really force, you know, just like non-stop pressure on that base with Immortals. But at the same time, you can kind of fake that and expand to your own third and use that destructible rocks avenue to really bounce between bases, and Zerg really can't break you. So a lot of Protoss, I feel like, has initiative on this map more than other maps like Daybreak.
Yeah, Stargate play, whoa. Stargate play going down. Now Stargate, this is a very big stylistic thing. Stargate, I feel like, is going in and out of metagame. Honestly, like, some people say it's complete trash because the Zerg just gets drones, and you really can't do a lot, especially with Queens being so powerful against ground and air now with the 5 range. it's very difficult to get anything at all with this Stargate. Other people say it's really important to defend against a lot of different all-ins and also to know exactly what your opponent is doing so you can make the appropriate 2-base or 3-base push.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, Protoss players have been coming really good at even just using the 1 or 2 Void Rays and just pretty much trying to control creep and set up potential pushes based off of the initial reaction. Like, you know, the fact that they have to get up spores and really try to attack the spores. And we see a little bit of comeback of Void Ray Zealots, just a little bit. But what is this we see out of Inca? We see a second Stargate. And, you know, Inca, he's always a guy who has tricky plays up his sleeve. I remember he did this to Nada as well, even though it was a different matchup. He'd always make one Stargate and try to bait it as 2.
That is so weird. Obviously, we, especially against Nada, who's a Terran. I mean, it's like, what are you doing, Inca?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Double Void Ray. And he is going for double Void Ray as well. You can see that Slavik has Overlords in position, but is he going to sense this coming?
Normally, you do push in around 7.5 minutes with your Overlords just to check on everything. 7 to 7.5, but so far, Slavik has not gone and seen anything. He has seen how fast the double gas on the natural have been, but nothing else really. Ooh, first Overlord is going to get in, seeing the first Stargate. Will he see the other one? Oh, he's just a hair away.
Oh no, he saw Chrono Boost on it, but he actually saw it in his peripheral vision with the Overlord as well. The Void Ray coming from a certain direction. Slavik's Overlord does get picked off by 2 Void Rays, but that still is not any strong indication. Some Protosses go 2 Void Rays and follows up with Phoenixes. And if he's not careful, Slavik this can just get way out of control. The game could end straight here if Slavik's not prepared.
Oh yeah. Because look, 2 Phoenixes directly behind this. It gives the ability to actually take out Spore Crawler with 3 Void Rays and then stop any queens from actually transfusing it and then eventually killing the queens. That's very, very powerful. He's going to poke in here. He actually takes a couple of pot shots. The first queen looks to be lifted right here. It will be taken out so fast.
Yeah, and without that queen, that means there's no mobile form to really back up the second queen here, and there's no real ability to transfuse. This queen's completely in trouble, and Inca will have free reign over it. 2 more Phoenixes are coming in here, and Slavik's going to lose a lot of damage. The Warriors can now park themselves and really attack this hatchery.
Yeah, he has his ways with Slavik at this point. It's so difficult because if he picks up the Spore Crawler, it's going to die. That's how it's going to work out. And there it is. He picks it up, it will die. So you can never cover this hatchery. You need some sort of mobile defense. In the meantime, a Spire is on the way out as we speak, but the 3rd base will go down before that actually happens. So he can probably take out another hatchery if he so chooses to.
Oh, and Inca does manage to snatch the other 2 queens as well. And Inca, no choice females on the queen, but that's not going to buy enough time. The other queen will die anyways. And you can see that at this point, Inca's already prepared a tech switch. He's got his robotics bay almost done. So even if Slavik can hold this off, he's got a huge response incoming.
Yep. 7 Corruptors on the way out right now. And, you know, it's unfortunate because Slavik is just hard countering whatever is out right now, but this has been out for so long. Inca can actually prepare for the tech transition and go from there. He sees a ton of Zerglings. That should be a big indicator that it is some sort of Spire tech or Infestor tech, but now the Corruptors are out.
And the Corruptors are popping out one at a time, really. I mean, they're not really able to gather together. The Warriors are charged. That is such bad news for Slavik. And those Corruptors are going to drop really quickly. So even the form of anti-air for Slavik is not going to hold at least as natural.
And you know what? Slavik shouldn't actually be targeting down the Phoenixes. The Phoenixes are completely useless. They just tickle the Corruptors. You want to target down the Void Rays. He lost a lot of valuable time not doing that. Look at that. The Void Rays will stay alive. He's kept all 3 of them. How many kills does he have? 5, 4, and 6.
Yeah, but 2 of them were hatcheries, and a lot of them were queens.
Yeah.
These Void Ray kills have been insane. The Phoenixes, you're right, they don't do any damage, really, because the Phoenixes have 2 shots, and the Corruptors have 2 armor, so Phoenixes really don't do anything. You have to focus on the Void Rays. And, he just loses another Corruptor, which is just going to make it that much harder to hold off the imminent Colossus follow-up.
Yep. I mean, these Colossus are going to be so powerful once he has the big combination because, yes, Corruptors are out in the field, but you have air to actually defend against all of this. Not only that, you have the gateway pressure, and Slavik has invested nothing into defending or even controlling ground. Normally you have roaches, you have Zerglings, mutas, or infestors out. None of that really is going to constitute any sort of control because Zerglings will just get smothered by those Colossus.
can see that Inca is setting up his third Nexus at this point, and he's just adding on an incredible amount of gateways, and really just getting up the amount of units that he needs to make sure that any kind of reverse attack will be thwarted. But Slavik's already done a pretty decent job at least managing his economy. He kept a huge number of drones alive, and he does have his third base re-established, but a lot of damage has been dealt. His tech is very, very poor at this point. No real amount of upgrades. He's pretty much only has Spire and Roach War now, so he doesn't have a lot of flexibility on what he can do from this point on.
That's why Slavik is just reaching right now. What he's trying to do is find some sort of advantage. Oh, not going to work with this. A lot of Zerglings dying right there. But he's trying to find poke in, see if he can just pick up a free Nexus or maybe get units out of position like this. One Phoenix goes down to the Corruptors. Because if he just continues to macro and play completely standard, he's dead. Like Inca, all he has to do is just macro, push, win. Because of the big advantage that he's able to get with those Void Rays. So in this position, I still feel like Slavik, he has to make something happen because relying on the perfect engagement isn't really going to work when Inca has the ability to have unlimited force shields, unlimited Colossus, basically whatever he wants before his opponent can actually get the adequate defense to it.
Inca still has no real indication his opponent is going Roach. He hasn't seen it yet, at least as far as I know. And you know, the one thing that Inca really hasn't been doing, though, he doesn't really have like an observer out really trying to catch his opponent's timings out. But at the same time, granted, he doesn't really need to because he did force a lot out of his opponent. Inca's playing off the fact that he's just way ahead at this point and just not really trying to seek out any timings, at least for now. You can see that Slavik does have, you know, a lot of Roaches at this point in Lings, but they're not really even useful at all. You got all these units, but his upgrades have been severely delayed. Look at it. The fact that he's doing all these upgrades now means he's not going to be relevant for another 2-3 minutes again. So this is a very good opportunity for Inca to just take more of the map and force Slavik's hand.
I don't know what these Corruptors are doing. It's so dangerous. Of course, trying to pick off any of these Phoenixes, but really, there's a liability. I mean, you can easily just be blinked on, and then all of a sudden you're dead. Like, losing that many Corruptors, you need them to deal with the Colossus. But here we go, pushing out with a blink and +2 timing. I like this. He is almost maxed. A lot of times I would love, you know, Protoss to actually make a Warp Prism in this position and then just try to do this multi-pronged harassment. But anything that Inca does at this position is going to be good. Yes, Slavik is max 200, but he doesn't yet have the essential upgrades as you were talking about. And Force Shield's going to be so key. Can he get it down in time?
Yeah, and he definitely gets it up in time. Bangs can't even land on it. The Colossus doing lots of damage. The Bangs are going to go straight for the army, though, and Inca just has to pull back really and handle it. The Corruptors not even really able to target the Colossus down, working on the Void Rays instead. And there's a lot of Zerglings coming reinforcements, but a lot of gas has been soaked up as well in those Banelings.
Yeah, that's about as good of an engagement as you can get in this position, but look at this. Slavik is still going to lose the battle. I mean, he was able to detonate so many of his Banelings on top of the Protoss army, but now all things are said and done. A big Stalker army is still alive. He's going to be able to take out this 4th base while simultaneously taking his own 4th. That will give him all the biggest advantages in the world. No Infestors out in the field means Blink Stalkers are going to reign supreme as well.
I mean, Banelings didn't have speed really prepared for that battle. They didn't have, I mean, there was no even Ventral Sex research, even though Overlords have speed, so there was a very, very small opportunity for Slavik, and he did get a pretty decent engagement, but there was just way too many units from Inca.
Absolutely right. And from here, Inca again just macros pushes, lean on your opponent as much as possible, and you will inevitably win just from sheer attrition.
Yeah, and Inca at this point just pretty much getting a sumo suit on and sitting on Slavik and just keeping him pinned. Something that I am very familiar with after wrestling you, Andre.
That's what
a little bit too much.
My sumo headbutt doesn't work.
Oh, but this headbutt will work as Inca is bashing straight into the army of Zerg. Corruptors are pretty much the only thing left to take on the army, but they can't do anything. And at this point, Inca is just going to push in with just a raw army. I mean, Slavik does what he can. He corrupts almost all those Stalkers, but there's no real units to DPS. Inca's going to push in here. He's going to clean up and go 1-up over his opponent. And with that, GG gets called out. And Inca's up 1-0.
Yes, he is. Void Rays really won the game. It's not too important to actually go into the rest of it because it's so difficult coming back from something like that. Yes, he actually prepared that pretty nicely. I thought it was going to be a pretty big sweep. One thing, if I want to be a little bit critical on the Protoss, get more sentries when you're actually going through that battle, but still, it looked phenomenal. It looked so good. Inca just had to lean on his opponent and he won.